I want to read you the original Lord's Prayer from the Bible,
All right, let's see it.
which is insane to read because this is the direct Aramaic translation that they didn't tell us.
Pretty sure it's not.
O cosmic birther of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our bodies and carve out a space within us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear the fruit of your mission. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with our desires. Endow us with the wisdom to produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of our present moment. For you are the ground, the truthful mission, the birth, the power, and fulfillment, as all is gathered and made whole again. And so it is. That is not the same prayer.
So this is not actually a translation of the Lord's Prayer. This is a mystical meditation on a mystical meditation on the Lord's Prayer. And this is one of two different versions of the Lord's Prayer that is presented by a man named Diarmuid O'Murchu on his website. And O'Murchu is a social psychologist and a priest in the Sacred Heart Missionary Order. And he says that this is based on the work of a man named Neil Douglas Klotz. And in 1990, Douglas Klotz published this book, The Prayers of the Cosmos, in which we find Douglas Klotz's own mystical meditation on the Lord's Prayer. And while Douglas Klotz claims to be an expert in Aramaic, the book is filled with a lot of mystical meditating that isn't really based on any sound linguistic principles. For instance, in the notes on this particular translation, Douglas Klotz says, "Further, according to the mystical science of sounds and letters common to both Aramaic and Hebrew, the word Abun points beyond our changing concepts of male and female to a cosmic birthing process. At this level of interpretation, Abun may be said to have four parts to its sound meaning. Ah, so the first sound, the absolute, the only being, the pure oneness and unity, source of all power and stability, echoing to the ancient sacred sound, Al, and the Aramaic word for God, Allah, literally the oneness. Buh, a birthing, a creation, a flow of blessing as if from the interior of this oneness to us. Oo, the breath or spirit that carries this flow, echoing the sound of breathing and including all forces we now call magnetism, wind, electricity, and more. This sound is linked to the Aramaic phrase Ruha Dekudsha, which was later translated as Holy Spirit. N. The vibration of this creative breath from oneness as it touches and interpenetrates form. There must be a substance that this force touches, moves, and changes. And it just goes on like this. This is just making stuff up. It's trying to inject these words with as much significance as possible, not because that significance was there, but because it makes it more meaningful and useful to us if we put it in there. So this is not a translation of the Lord's Prayer, and all Aramaic versions of the Lord's Prayer are translations from the Greek. So if you want a good translation of the Lord's Prayer, just go find a good translation of the book of Matthew. And I usually recommend the updated edition of the New Revised Standard Version, but there are other versions of just the Gospels out there. For instance, Sarah Rudin's translation is an interesting one, and you might find more significance in the Lord's Prayer if you check that one out. But this mystical meditation on the Lord's Prayer is just a reflection of what mysticism can inject into the Lord's Prayer rather than what it can find within the Greek or the Aramaic of the Lord's Prayer. And the fit for this video has been The Death of Superman.